Hey, and welcome to a commentary on Transformers Dawn of Corruption Part 1. I've never done a commentary on this unless I've magically forgotten. But I thought I'd do one, give you a little background of certain things that I remember during the production and the little extra things that you won't really know. I remember opening this shot. I was really unsure how to start the dialogue. When I first wrote Dawn of Corruption Part 1, I remember really struggling. How do I start it? How do I actually make the start? I remember staring at the blank page, just waiting for the words to come to my mind. And I was talking to my mom at the time, thinking, how do I start this? And she said, it'll all fall in place. And it has. Entire cinematic universe is coming together, so thanks, Mom.
The war begins again. Here.
Although the production isn't how it is now, I really am happy with how this turned out. I had to thank Store Media for helping with this initial title card.
Technology has altered and improved.
I think this is the third or fourth variation of Dawn of Corruption Part 1. Part 2 I think had two. It had the original, then it had the redub, and then I'm not sure if I did it again, but Dawn of Corruption Part 1 I think I did about 4 or 5 times just because I couldn't get it right. But this is the definitive version. Link below.
Snipers, get ready.
So initially with this was the fact that this is a Dark Energon power plant that Sector 7 found Dark Energon, and they built a power plant around the Dark Energon they found. But it's just disguised as a normal power plant. No one knows it's Dark Energon, it's just disguised as a power plant. So basically, Nest find... This is obviously after the arrival to Earth. But Nest find an Energon reading in a power plant, and it's a little bit of a Dark Energon. Basically, Lockdown has found the Dark Energon because he was sent by Megatron to go and get it. So obviously, the Decepticons also found the Dark Energon hidden in the power plant. They sent Lockdown to get it, and here we are. I really am a fan of this episode. I love how it is. Obviously, the production-wise, the photos, there's not as many photos here as I would take now. The quality, I would do a little better. I would do a lot better, but taking a step back and just ignoring it and looking at it from a story perspective, I really love how I did this. And I filmed this with 2 cameras. You'll notice the frame aspect ratio changes here and there. I remember I filmed it initially, I think with my... I think it was with either my iPod to my Xperia or my Xperia to my new phone. I can't remember which is which.
I thought I'd never encounter.
And then the... this definitive version actually took new shots. So you'll see the old shots like here, and then you'll see this shot here where it's a lot better quality. That shot was actually added in to this definitive version. It wasn't in the original version because I went back and reshot some shots. A massive expedition dump here. And when you look at this as a project, you see a lot of what formed the basis for my universe. So the mouth movement, the signal strength. Obviously, I don't do that anymore. And it was more of a thing that happened in Dawn of Corruption and a few other expanded universes. I don't really do that signal anymore. I mean, let me know if you guys like that signal sort of strength where it kind of shows the wavelength. Obviously, I do it different now, but if you guys like it where it shows the character and the wavelengths, please let me know, and I could consider bringing that back in new expanded universes. But yeah, you really see the tone and the sort of vibe this project is going for. And obviously, Lockdown's escaped and Optimus is chasing him down now.
Lord Megatron, failed to capture the Dark Energon, and I'm mortally wounded and being pursued by Optimus Prime. Turn around and fight.
And of course, the Decepticons have an opposite colour, so the Autobots have blue and the Decepticons have pink and purple signal.
The MP should bind us in time to retreat.
It's really amazing when you look back at a project that you did ages ago, and it's just so strange. It's just weird to look back on. It doesn't seem long ago, but it is. It's years ago.
An EMP. The very one he stole from you a while back. It seems I was knocked unconscious for a few cycles. Did you recover the Dark Energon from the power plant?
And if you've got that many questions as well about this episode, please comment in the comment section below. Please share as well. I really would appreciate that. Again, it formed a big basis for my universes. This is where it all started. Initially, I had a series that I made when I was 11, 12 years old. And I continued it for a few years. It was Transformers Season 1, Season 2, Season 3. And they all had the main story arc in each one. And that's what Dawn of Corruption Part 1, 2 and 3 is, because originally I was going to do Season 4, 5, 6, 7 for my original series, continuing from the third season. But I thought I could do a lot better. I could do a lot better. And that's how Dawn of Corruption came apart, because I wanted to make this universe. And I thought, if I'm going to make a universe, I need to make it serious and realistic and dark tone, or, add certain elements, not just do it with a blurry camera, shaky and not good effects. I wanted to make a definitive universe. So Season 1 of my original series got remade into Dawn of Corruption Part 1, Season 2 into Dawn of Corruption Part 2, and Season 3 into Dawn of Corruption Part 3. So there is little differences here and there. I might do a little video here and there showing the comparisons between the original seasons and the Dawn of Corruption remakes. But yeah, I really loved this scene, how it just introduced the Decepticons, and you didn't need an introduction of, hey, this is Megatron. It just got straight into it. I always did love that.
Ratchet, I'm at the crash site of the protoforms. Understood, Optimus.
And you'll see the signal strength is lowered now because the crash site where the protoforms went, it kind of like disrupt everything.
Optimus, if you can hear me, the arrival of the protoforms must have scrambled our transmission. I've got the protoforms faction. They're friendlies. I read you, Ratchet, and that's good to hear.
I really loved the designs that I did for the Cybertronian mode. So I had Brawn, Flack and Robo all have Cybertronian modes. So I didn't want to just kind of do what the official Transformers media do with Transformers Prime and other series where their Earth modes are the Cybertronian modes. It just doesn't make sense. So I wanted to have a similar sort of thing, because Transformers, not really the protoform skeleton, but generally they have the same look on Cybertron on Earth, but when they scan a form, it adds the Earth parts onto it. So what I wanted to do is keep the general sort of shape, but cover the Earth parts up, so it still had the same sort of look. Like you could tell that we were Brawn, Flack and Robo, but it didn't have any Earth parts. A really good example is the Wreckers concept art in Dark of the Moon. If you look at the Earth modes compared to Cybertronian modes, you'll see what I mean. It's like the same character, but they're just very different. Here's Elefunga and Lionheart. A little fun fact, I got Elefunga from a zoo years and years ago. And then a few years later, I went to Llandudno on a school trip. And I went to a zoo and I actually found the lion. I think there was another one. There was, I think it was a leopard or something. I think Elefunga was there as well. I made the names up, by the way. My mum suggested Lionheart for the lion, but yeah, I bought Lionheart on a school residential trip to Llandudno. A little bit sad as well because some of the bullies in school tried to steal him off me when we were in the hotel. I'd have him in like my room, like displayed in my hotel room, like, hey, this is a Lionheart that I bought, and some of the kids tried to take it from me, so I had to kind of keep Lionheart on me at all times.
For that, I apologize, Optimus.
And you know the scary thing is, it's like if one of the kids did take Lionheart away from me, who had never made it into my series, my entire series could have been different. You know, one little change changes everything. If I didn't have Lionheart, maybe I definitely wouldn't be here right now.
I couldn't risk losing Flack or Rollbar in a firefight
Yeah.
with the Decepticons, especially with Flack and Rollbar's lack of experience. So we went into hiding. But then we detected your signal across the galaxy.
I love this music,
Asking
and
the other Transformers to join you on this planet.
I don't always have the
This
same
was our
music
best
for
chances of survival.
different projects. I try and keep each project unique, but I try to give it like its own little soundtrack. So I'll find very different songs. Sometimes by the same artists or ones that sound similar, but I'll never really use the same theme in different projects. Sometimes I will, but
Or not.
I like to make every project feel
Someone
different.
catch that con.
And I really love this theme.
While you're on this planet, you must adapt to Earth-based vehicles to blend in with your surroundings. Here is a database of some of the nest vehicles our human
I really am proud of this transformation sequence that's coming
We'll
up.
be on our way.
I don't think I could have done this any better. Like, it just, you can see the Cybertronian armor just peeling off as it gets replaced by the new Earth mode armor. You see all the CGI renders there. I don't know why I did the CGI characters in the field and not just their own figures, but oh.
Let me guess.
Dark Energon. Lockdown failing to retrieve.
And there we have All Hail Megatron 1000.
Down still in Shanghai suburbs.
I really am proud of Starcade as well. Starcade like a gangster sort of character. He's not terrified of anyone really. He's not afraid of authority. Like a lot of Decepticons will obviously bow down to Megatron, fear and submission. But Starcade just doesn't care. You know, he'll call Megatron out if Megatron makes a mistake. He'll be like, Megatron, why have you done this? You've screwed us over. Don't put the blame on me. You have caused this mess up. Starcade just isn't care. And especially with Dawn of Corruption Part 1, 2, and 3, we see the development of Barricade. Like, Barricade starts as this, as you just saw, he's just like, he's just, I guess, a standard sort of character almost, but he's not as aggressive, and he's just, I don't know how to describe Barricade,
Optimus?
but
I'm getting readings of an incoming
we see the development, especially in the expanded universes that'll come up, but in End of Days, and we see the development that he goes from this standard soldier to someone who's very loyal to Megatron in End of Days, and very independent, and he becomes a leader. And it's kind of like Bumblebee a lot in the Michael Bay film, though he starts off as this little scout, this standard character, and he becomes a leader. And I really do like that about Barricade in this series. This is meant to be Optimus's Age of Extinction depression moment.
What?
That scene really does have an impact in the scene and how the story's told.
How many more human
Because I kind of want to show, I mean, Optimus didn't want to just sit down and chill like this, but I really want to show that even Optimus is vulnerable. You know, Optimus isn't perfect in my series. Transformers Prime, Bayverse, I love those Optimus Primes, but Prime in my series isn't always like that. He's not always strong and everything. He's vulnerable, and you're going to see that in more stories, how vulnerable Optimus Prime is.
Not Bumblebee.
He's not perfect in the series. He's learning. He's like he's younger than Prime and the Michael Bay films, but he's not like young as in like Transformers animated Optimus. He's sort of somewhere in between. So he's mature, but he's still got a lot to learn.
Megatron has. We collected all the Dark Energon that was in the power plant. Well, that we could find.
And of course, Lockdown only recovered a small fraction of Dark Energon, and then that's when the Autobots and Ness locked onto his position in the power plant at the beginning, and he couldn't grab any more. So
It was actually a former Sector 7 base.
yeah,
Sector 7? Don't
they're going back to try and find more.
It was designed to look like a power plant on the outside, so it didn't draw any unwanted.
This is meant to be Lennox, by the way, just in his Nest uniform.
Experiments going off, classified projects, you name it.
I really like the figures of human lines, because you can see it's like the Michael Bay films where the Transformers are giants and the humans are tiny. I do love humans in my series. I don't focus on them like like
All their files.
in the official Transformers stories media, but when I do, I really like to show like these aren't small toys. Like they are a lot bigger than the humans. Like I really like to show that.
It's Dark Energon.
It adds that realism to it.
File in a research lab in the Sector 7 power
And this base that they're in, actually, it's the same base that was
7 just stumbled upon the dark
in the original Transformers series.
In 2006, they found it and they made it top secret. Only VIP personnel were to view it. Turned out the Dark Energon they found was a large quantity that was
Get ready for the massive CGI
carbon dating.
Dark Energon
Maybe
shot in a minute.
1,000 years old. Way too old to even be able to
Lennox has Lego hands.
build a power plant and
There we go, the Dark Energon shot.
scientists did a bunch of experiments
Oh, the middle bit isn't bad, it's the bits on the outside. You can just tell they're like
to live off.
cartoonified, animated, whatever, I don't know.
Dark Energon gave off hazardous radiation, and Sector 7 had to abandon pollution zone.
Yeah, that was
Dark
the name for it. So Sector 7 didn't know what Dark Energon were. They didn't really know what Energon were, so they just called it Pollution Z, Pollution Z, however you pronounce it.
To destroy all the Dark Energon they found.
And I remember reading this line, and there was so much text when I was younger. So I mean, I wouldn't have the problem now, but when I was younger, I was reading the line, and there was just so much, and I'm like, okay, let's try and get this all in one take. And I remember just reading it all off. So you probably hear my voice get a little bit tired on that bit.
Yes.
This is really where it starts picking up. I mean, every time I watch this this episode, it goes really quick. I mean, it's 32 minutes, but every time I sit down and watch it, the time passes. Like I'm really happy with the pacing of this.
Figured out what we're up to, and they're most likely already on their way.
Got some. Stockade, they're sending F-22s in.
The F-22 Raptors that are flying over them that you don't hear or see. You just lock down just like with F-22s.
Since when do I ever follow orders?
And that's the thing. Starscream says don't engage, and Stargate's like, screw it, I'm going to engage the Autobots, I'm going to engage Ironhide, Brawn, Bumblebee, and Optimus Prime at the same time. But yeah.
You're too late.
Stargate's very tough as well. I know he just kind of got shot on his arse, but he's very tough.
Damn it! You weren't fast enough. Yeah. It's okay, Optimus.
And again,
Try and
Optimus is
stop
very
whatever Megatron
upset.
and Decepticons are planning to do. I'll call Autobot
Yeah.
HQ to be ready for an attack just in case. Then we'll be ready for anything.
I really do like these Africa scenes. Like, I know you can tell it's the background I printed off. Obviously, like I said, now I would do it very differently. I could film it outside even, and just change the colour of the grass a little bit to more like a yellowy, like a yellow sort of colour,
Are more than a challenge for you.
and change some of the green trees to more like a brown beige.
Out of my way to get
But I really do like
them back.
these Africa
That's how
scenes.
you're gonna treat me? Fine.
It'd be cool to do a recreation, like if I ever, maybe not the full project, but if I ever just think, it'd be nice to do a recreation of that scene, but in like a modern take with like the Studio Series figures or Masterpiece. That'd be very interesting to see. And the thing is, Elefunga and Lionheart are like ridiculously strong. Like they just literally jump on Starscream and take him down straight away. But they're drones, so they don't really. They just saw Starscream and attacked him because it's like they just saw him as a threat. But they're drones, so they don't really have a mind.
Autobots, I have just been informed that all of our energon detectors throughout the globe have been hacked and disabled. Meaning whoever did this may now know the location of this base.
Optimus, I've gathered the reinforcements you requested.
Thank you, Braun.
Ironhide just looks like he's kind of like tensing his biceps, like, look at me, look at my shoulders, they're bigger than my own head.
Braun, Flack, and Roar will scout the city for incoming Decepticons. Jazz and I will go and take care of Megatron.
Let's do it. You all heard Optimus. The base could be attacked at any moment. Go to your.
Here we have Jay Poozer as Jazz and Ironhide as well. So they're all going out to search for the Decepticons. They're trying to find Megatron.
Be on your guard, you two. The Autobots are crawling all over this city.
Watch out, you two. The Decepticons could be right around the corner.
I love this scene.
Autobots!
I didn't mean that literally. It was a figure of speech. Oh well, my bad. Gotta be on my guard every second, I guess.
Drones, get them! Ah!
I don't know what Rollbar were doing there. He's kind of like probably jumped off the side of the building, and then Ultra Magnus just finds one weak spot on Lionheart there, the Funga, but like it's no trouble. But
Ultra
yeah.
Magnus? Is that really you?
Indeed, Broad. I too received Optimus Prime's invitation to this planet. Where is Optimus?
He went to find and take down Megatron.
Megatron is here too?
The news just keeps getting
Oh,
worse.
huh? Flack, make sure Rollbar is okay.
And again, if you guys have any questions,
Help me get
please
stockade
comment
and
below.
back to base.
Of course.
It's like looking at a piece of the TF fan history here. It's like,
I can hear the battle
yeah.
outside the base's wall. I feel guilty just standing here guarding the base while the humans fight our battle for us.
If the Decepticons got into the base, the humans won't be enough to stop them.
Maybe you're right.
And obviously in this scene we have Brawl who's snuck in as just a tank as one of the reinforcements. And it's deluxe class Brawl. There'll be a little joke in a minute from Bumblebee. But yeah.
You know,
Just gets knocked down straight away.
You're pretty damn good.
But of course Brawl is a Studio Series Brawl in End of Days, so I'm kind of thinking in other projects I'm going to use the Studio Series Brawl just to retcon
Robot resilience is silenced for now, and I am
this
making
deluxe
my
Brawl,
way to Vault
but
98
I don't know
to
yet.
the Dark Energon.
I think I will.
No sign of the Decepticons here either. Something's up, don't you think?
I definitely like this
Like it either.
sort of scene.
Optimus to base, do you read me? No answer.
That would mean...
Optimus.
And it's just funny to see how things change, you know, years later, and some figures have just shattered apart, like Ironhide and Starscream in this, they're in pieces.
Jazz, go!
Megatron, his back shoulder things that clip his back on, backpack, they've broke a little bit, but the figure's intact, it's fine.
No! Be gone, Megatron!
Optimus definitely goes through a lot of emotions in this. And I do always, especially in Donald Corruption, this one, and I think 2 and 3, merge videos and photos together to make one shot, as you just saw when Optimus shot Megatron.
Flack,
And basically with this is,
did you search the base?
after everything's kicked off inside the base,
Why?
you know,
The Decepticons
Brawl snuck in and started fighting everyone. That's further into the base, and Flak's just on the outside, so we don't even know what's gone off inside. That's when Brawl's gone up behind him. I mean, Ironhide's gone up behind him. I know. Crazy. I wonder who's behind Ironhide. I love this shot. I mean, an F-22 Raptor flying that low, you know. I mean, Starscream does it in the film, but that's kind of where it came from.
I've got you now, Megatron. Nowhere left for you to run.
This fight is extremely short, but I kind of want to show like Optimus is kind of in over his head a little bit, and it only takes a few hits and Megatron overpowers him. Not to say that Optimus is weak. I mean, he's weaker than Megatron in this. But he's acting out of emotion, and it doesn't take much for Megatron to recognise that, lead him away from his Autobots, and he spots weaknesses in Optimus Prime's guard, and he just exposes them and just hits them hard and takes him down so easily.
Finished me off like he intended to. Ratchet, if you read me, I'm alright.
And again, the backgrounds here have been printed off, stuck in cardboard, but I'm still pretty happy with it.
Optimus, you're here. Thank Primus, we were worried.
Optimus's battle damage, all his bits are just like bent out of shape.
No. Is that really you? Ultra Magnus?
The leaders have a thing about chilling on this one. Like, they all just kind of sit down. Like, can you imagine him just watching Transformers Prime and Ultra Magnus just sat in a chair?
Best I could.
Ultra Magnus helped us capture some Decepticons for us.
The Decepticon Elefunga, the Decepticon prisoner, is just holding a gun just pointed directly at Ratchet.
They don't have a
I didn't actually notice that before,
built
but
to be mindless,
hey.
expendable, heavy-class assault drones, I think. I believe they were created from the Dark Energon. Apparently Starscream created them both with super strength, immense firepower, and impenetrable shields when in beast mode. Probably to usurp leadership from Megatron, I'm guessing.
That's true. And in the original series, it was Black Arachne who created Lionheart and Elefunga.
I shall use the Matrix to
But in this, it was Starscream.
and to give
And in the original as well, Optimus actually goes with Sideswipe to find Black Arachne, and he's like, Black Arachne, stop doing this!
Elefunga
Um, And yeah, in this one it's Starscream, and they're kind of out the way in Africa.
and will be called upon when they
So Ravage hunts the beasts down, and they convert it. And this scene goes directly into Dawn of Corruption Part 2. So there's not really a time jump between 1 and 2. There's a little bit of time, but only a couple of hours at the most. And the expanded universe called New Recruit takes place between Dawn of Corruption Part 1, between this scene and the start of Dawn of Corruption Part 2. So hopefully that'll come soon. But yeah, this will go into the second part where Bone Crusher basically gets sent into the Amazon jungle to burn it down, because Megatron's kind of like, I want to make my mark on this world. Just the main reasons as well for it is to show strength. You know, kind of say like, I can take this entire area down with 1 or 2 Decepticons, and yeah, it's kind of like a show of strength to the world. And we also see Megatron in part 2 and 3, especially. He's almost losing it, almost. You don't really see it in part 1, but in part 2 he's kind of... He mentions bits about the Sky Ruler prophecy that is hinted at more in... well, it's hinted more in part 2, but it comes to fruition in part 3. But slowly Megatron just shows signs of what's the word? Almost weakness, and just really, he just starts losing it really. Almost like it does in Transformers Prime towards the end of season 1. You know, he starts getting very focused about himself and start trying to fulfill prophecies that shouldn't really be fulfilled. and he gets angry when his troops fail him, but like not just normal angry, like he gets very angry to the point where he'll kill his own troops if they just fail the simplest tasks. Becomes a bit obsessive, and that's something we're gonna carry on with in End of Days. You're gonna see more of Megatron in, End of Days Part 2, and however long it goes on for. I'm not gonna give any spoilers, but you will see great development for Megatron. And yeah, it's good to rewatch stuff because when you're doing expanded universes that take place between each episode, or just whatever a story arc might pay off in the future, it's good to really refresh your mind on the stories that you wrote so many years ago that you might not be as your memory might not be as sharp as it used to be when you're making that project. Because it's like when I make a project, I know loads of stuff about it, and I still know loads of stuff about my previous projects, but because you're working on it at that time, your memory is so sharp and you know loads about that project. And then what I like to do is do these sort of commentaries where I'm talking and kind of give you guys more insight to this project that you might not necessarily know. And yeah, that's it. Very, very happy with how this actually turned out. Again, I think it definitely set the stage for the future, and just generally, it's something that the slightest decision can really influence the way you go forward. My advice, if anyone wants to create a series, just go for it. Just go for it. It's an amazing thing. But other than that, please leave a like, comment, share, and follow me on Instagram at TFM5000. Join the Discord, link in the description box below. Thank you so much for joining. Till all are one, and transform and roll out!